Here is your breaking news story. Well, folks, if you thought African leaders were too busy fixing their own countries to start a fresh war, think again. The latest edition of Who Wants to Start a Diplomatic Crisis features none other than South Africa and Rwanda, two nations now locked in an increasingly heated exchange that sounds less like international relations and more like an angry Twitter feud. It all started when South African Defense Minister Angie Motshekga decided to hold a press briefing, because why not stir the pot a little? With the full backing of President Cyril Ramaphosa, she declared that any further Rwandan hostilities against the South African National Defense Force, SANDF, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, would be treated as a declaration of war. That's right, full-on war, because apparently words are just too mainstream. Not one to be outdone, Ramaphosa himself then upped the ante by calling the Rwanda Defense Force, RDF, a militia, a term usually reserved groups that operate in the shadows, not for an official army of a sovereign state. It was a bold move, considering that military posturing in Africa tends to come with real consequences, not just hashtags. Naturally, Kigali was not amused. Rwandan Foreign Minister Olivier Jean-Patrick Nduhungirehe wasted no time in calling Motshekga a liar, because that's how diplomacy works these days. Straight to insults, no filter. But the real mic drop came from President Paul Kagame, who took to social media, because why bother with diplomatic channels when Twitter exists, to challenge Ramaphosa's version of events. Kagame claimed that in private conversations, Ramaphosa had actually admitted that the SANDF soldiers killed in the DRC were not attacked by M23 rebels, who, fun fact, are mostly Banyarwanda of Congolese origin, but rather by the Congolese army itself. Now, if true, this would mean Pretoria's entire narrative just did a spectacular faceplant.
For the last 2 days, on Monday and today this morning, I spoke with the President of South Africa, who sought me out to speak with me on this matter because of their involvement in Eastern Congo. And he's also there pretending to be playing a peacemaker role. And he has a force that has been fighting alongside FDLR and has been fighting the M23 on the instructions of Tshisekedi, because these are people who are not supposed to be in Congo, that these are from Rwanda, or the M23 are not Rwandans, please. These are Congolese, and one time he accepts it, then another time he says no, part of it is yes, and then the other part is from Rwanda, and these are he keeps on. And how do we, leaders of our own countries, accept this to go on forever and just accept that we shall be manipulated by Tshisekedi or whoever is supporting him? And South Africa dares even issue threats about what is likely to happen after that, and so on and so forth. Of course, we will see what threats they are talking about. Maybe they should have done that exactly for which they have been issuing threats. They should have done it to clean up the mess in Eastern Congo, or to fight back those who have been trying to clean up the mess. So then you have the whole international community just confused. They talked about Rwanda, they talked about the Nairobi process. Honestly, even here, maybe you will help me understand what all this means. The processes became an end in themselves. And the people leading these processes became more important than the results of the processes. The Nairobi process became a Uhuru process. Then the Rwanda process, it's like you can't say anything that will displease President Lorenzo. definitely, this does not help deal with such a serious matters as we are faced with today. That in the end, just because they can't be addressed, we have such a situation like we have now. And if anybody, and above all, I don't understand how Tshisekedi keeps thinking that he will resolve the problems to do with rights of people militarily. Kill them, shoot them, bring in forces that are ready to help, like especially Burundi. Well, I don't know whether that has been helpful for the last few days or weeks. They have been doing that. So I want us to, Chairman, Your Excellencies, I want us, whatever we are saying and whatever we intend to do, we capture the context rightly and then proceed based on that, and maybe we can get somewhere. But otherwise, if we keep saying good things, saying that, and to each other, being nice, and then each one fulfilling their own interests other than others' interests, the common interests we have as East Africans, then I don't see how we are going to contribute effectively to finding a solution. But really, to have even had East African community expelled from Eastern Congo and everybody complied and then there was quiet, it's as if it was normal or that is okay. Everything dictated by the country or the person we are trying to help. I didn't understand that. And that's where we are now. That's how we are here, where we are. So let me maybe for now stop here. I would really want to hear advice of others, but I think it's not just a plaything. It's not, it's a serious matter, evidently, because it consumes people's lives. And the other day, 2-3 days ago, we lost people. There was a lot of sharing from Eastern Congo, from Goma, and killed a dozen people and injured hundreds. We will definitely take care of that. There's no question about it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Now here's the thing. While these leaders are busy flexing their rhetorical muscles, real people are dying. But who cares about that when there are political points to score, right? Instead of talking to each other like grown-ups, we now have two African countries playing a dangerous game of who blinks first, while the rest of the continent watches nervously. And let's not forget, this is not a new problem. It didn't start with Ramaphosa or Kagame, or even with the current chaos in the DRC. This mess goes all the way back to the 1960s, when both Kagame and DRC President Felix Tshisekedi were still kids. And here we are, decades later, still pretending like this is a brand new crisis instead of the same old wound reopening every few years. At the end of the day, Africa doesn't need more war. What it needs is leadership that understands peace is built through dialogue, not through dramatic press conferences, Twitter spats, or reckless military threats.